Hi YouTube, thanks for tuning in once again today. So today we're going to address the ankle joint in relation to, I guess, squats or any sort of lower body movement. So first up, we're going to talk about the range of motion with the ankle. Now, an easy way to assess the range of motion is to do a simple knee to wall mobilisation. So basically, we're just assessing, come over here. So basically, I'm going to start about an inch off the wall and just assess the range. So just driving your middle of your knee over the middle toe, touching the wall, and then just basically coming back another inch or so and just reassessing until you find that range of the ankle joint and that dorsiflexion, making sure that you're not lifting the heel off, keeping the heel nice and flat, and just assessing the range until you find it, and then assessing on the contralateral side, so assessing on the other side. Same deal, about a sort of an inch, and just work your way back. So you find the range. So with myself, I'm limited on the left side with dorsiflexion due to a previous injury. But basically, 2 inches or below would test like a paw. Probably 2 to 4 inches away from the wall is okay, and 4 plus is probably an optimal way to go. With sort of upper limits, there would be a max of that, but 4 plus would be good for that range of motion. Now, when assessing that with the squat, in certain instances where you'd be doing like a parallel squat, so just coming down to 90 degrees, ankle range of motion probably wouldn't play, it would play a factor, but not too much of a factor, using myself as an example. So just setting up for a basic squat, so you get your techniques right, knees out, sitting back. So in that position there, it's not too bad, knees are in line with feet. Some people with obviously longer legs, they would need a greater range to get down in that position in regards to the ankle joint. But what we're sort of looking at is that the foot or the ankle is going to affect everything up the rest of the kinetic chain. So whether you look at the hips are slave to the knee and the ankle is one way to look at it. In this case, I guess more like from a podiatrist's point of view, everything's going to be affected from the feet, from the ankle, because that's what we're in contact with the ground with, whether you're running or squatting or whatever it may be. That's our point of contact. So, like I said before, there is a difference. So that's going to cause problems coming further in squat. So it depends on the deficit you actually have in the ankle joint. But sitting back, further you go down, what's going to happen, there'll be a shift with the hips. So there's actually a deficit in this left ankle, for an example. So your body's going to try and compensate to get into that full squat position. Now to compensate, it more likely is actually going to shift the hips to the right, where I've got a greater range, and load up that right side of my body and load up that hip joint and those structures on the right side, which is going to cause a bit of a rotation through the hips there, as well as through the spine, which is not something we want to do. Now, there are ways to get around this. Now, if someone has really poor range in dorsiflexion, so maybe 2 inches or below, obviously then they're going to need to work on fixing that. A couple of ways you can get around it, probably not the best, but it will help you get into a full squat position, is use something, like these Nike Ramos, like a weightlifting shoe. It actually has the raised heel, so it allows you to get into a better position in that full squat as well. But to fix that, so once you've addressed there's a deficit, so it could be in both of the ankle joints, or say in my case it's my left. I'm basically just going to work some self-myofascial release. So basically just working on the structures of that calf belly. The problem is with this muscle as well, it's quite hard to put enough weight into it, because it is quite strong, it can take quite a fair bit amount of force. So normally you can sort of put your opposite leg on top and just run up and down the belly of your gastroc and sort of get in there your soleus underneath there as well, especially in that lower portion near the ankle. A few techniques you can use the contract and relax method, going up and down it, or basically just rotate inside to side across the belly as you work through that tissue, just trying to loosen it up. And other methods where you'll use like the cross ball and so forth to do your typical trigger point release in that structure as well. So you can work your normal trigger points through there. So I've sort of got one there. So I can employ some contract and release sort of methods and go through there. And basically, you just find what's going to work for you. And once you spend a few minutes going through there, for example, you can basically just reassess, do the same process. Just reassess that range. Reassess that range in the ankle, dorsal. So I haven't got that much of an improvement because I haven't spent a lot of time going through there. But you can use your typical self-myofascial release stuff, like your foam roller. Other options that are a bit more brutal is obviously using a PVC pipe. You can roll through that. I've got a little one here that I'll use on different areas as well. Or even the procedure of testing that range, you can use that as a mobilisation. Just basically holding a stretch there. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to actually feel a stretch through there. Or actually just pulsating, so doing some short ones back and forth. So a light stretch down there for a second or two, coming back. And see if you're gaining any range as you do each rep. Also, other methods is obviously to be up on a step. You can even do your foot up on the wall and do some type of PIR up on a step, which I don't have here at the moment. But yeah, sort of PIR to sort of increase that range in the ankle joint. So there are methods you can do to try to assess that. So if you find that you're getting into that position, coming into a full squat, and you find that you're shifting to the contralateral side of that affected ankle joint, that could be something to look into. Check your ankles first and then work up the chain and assess anything else that might be a problem. One last thing, also by coming in that position, you notice if you are quite tight through the calves and through the back of those plantar flexors, a lot of times you'll get the foot, you get that extra range, the foot will actually roll in, especially with people who have flat feet. It's best to get some type of orthotic or something like that, but the foot will actually start to evert, that ankle will come in to get that extra range. You get down there. So if you sort of come down, I can't go any further, and then to get that extra range, the ankle will actually come in and will end up going like that, which is a no-no too, because that's just putting extra strain on that medial structure of that joint capsule of your ankle. Another thing to look out for too, especially as you come down, if that structure is quite tight there, the feet will actually spray out, they get that extra range, and by the feet coming out, obviously the ankles come in, feet evert, and then the knees will come in as well. So there's a few little things there, guys, you can look at. So if you're having that trouble, if your hips are shifting, ankles are coming in, your feet are reverting, check your range on your ankles. If both are short, obviously work on them, but more than likely you'll find a difference between right and left, especially if you've had a previous injury to your ankle, like a sprain or strain or some type of injury you've had in the past to do with that joint structure. Alright guys, hope that helps. Thanks for tuning in.
I've waffled on long enough, but catch you next time. If you have any comments, questions, write them down below. Make sure you subscribe, and peace. Bye.